covering every county. This is your statewide newscast. Arkansas Today.
And we begin with breaking news from the White House. President Trump, speaking just minutes ago, saying he will sign a bill to end the separation of families at the U.S.-Mexico border. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for Arkansas Today. I'm Aaron Nolan. The Justice Department is currently drafting an executive order that will address the growing border crisis. Officials have been working since early this morning. It's still unclear at this time what this order will look like.
We want to keep families together. It's very important. I'll be signing something in a little while that's going to do that. And the people in this room want to do that. And they're working on various pieces of legislation to get it done. But I'll be doing something that's somewhat preemptive, but ultimately will be matched by legislation, I'm sure.
The administration is still also pushing for congressional action. Now, in that meeting that you just saw, there were several senators surrounding the president as he made this announcement, including Arkansas's own Tom Cotton, who did have an opportunity to speak.
It's very important that we protect our border. We cannot allow a child to be a get-out-of-jail-free card and a get-into-the-U.S. free ticket. But at the same time, as you said, as we've all said, we'd like to keep families together, keep them together at the border for the orderly and timely processing of the adult's immigration claim. If it's a lawful, legitimate claim, we can admit the family into the country. If not, they'll have to go back to their home country. I'm glad you're looking for a solution for that. I know that we in Congress are working on legislation that will allow our hardworking Border Patrol agents to keep families together at the border while we process their claims in a timely fashion.
Again, all this happening just moments ago. Governor Asa Hutchinson here in Arkansas tweeted just in the past couple of minutes saying the separation of families at the border is a concern to every compassionate American. I want Washington to come up with a policy that will actually keep families intact. We've got to enforce the law, but in a way that does not tear families apart. This news comes as the Little Rock Air Force Base is one of a handful of locations being considered to house immigrant children. According to a Pentagon spokesperson, they have completed assessments of Fort Bliss, Goodfellow Air Force Base, and Dyess Air Force Base. Now, a spokesperson from the Little Rock Air Force Base says they will support any request they receive from the Department of Health and Human Services. This team is scheduled to be in Little Rock at the Air Force Base on Thursday. No word on whether a new policy announcement could change tomorrow's visit. Switching gear to the Arkansas Razorbacks, we're in a holding pattern right now because of weather happening in Omaha, Nebraska at the College World Series. Arkansas already had its game against Texas Tech delayed last night. The afternoon 11 o'clock first pitch has been delayed once again. Let's go live to Omaha and the Pig Trail Nation.
Hey, what's going on, Aaron? Here with our senior analyst, Mike Irwin. We're on the concourse here at TD Ameritrade Park. Mike, what do you make of this, considering Arkansas was supposed to play this game last night at 6? Again, Arkansas is a team that has dealt with this quite a bit in the postseason, given the fact that the SEC tournament was such a fluid situation.
Well, they're just killing time. They've been doing it for about an hour. They came down here earlier this morning and got in the indoor cages and did some hitting, but then they came out and got in the dugout maybe around 10:30, 11 o'clock. And about the time the game was supposed to start. And then it's just Dave Van Horn sitting on the bench looking and looking down, and some of the players talking to each other. I went over and looked at the Texas Tech dugout. They were doing pretty much the same thing. We're in what's called a rolling delay, which means that it just rolls over every minute because they're not sure when it will end. In a rolling delay, you can either announce at some point that you're not playing any games, you can suspend all games, or you can announce a start time. And no start time has been announced, but I was told about an hour ago that it looks like it's clearing up, and they may play around 2 o'clock. We've got light rain out there right now. Look, they could have played. They could have been playing since 11. The game would have had some rain. We've seen Arkansas play in rain games before, including the NCAA regional last year. But the NCAA is being really kind of antsy about this whole thing. There's no lightning, just rain around here.
Yeah, again, a stark contrast to the way things were operated there in the SEC tournament. Now, obviously, more teams there in Hoover versus this time around. But, Aaron, this is a game that is highly anticipated, as you know, could be the best in the tournament before it's all said and done. I mean, Arkansas and Texas Tech, really good offenses.
We can get to that game very quickly, guys. Does this benefit Arkansas, or do you think this is a negative, having to sit around and wait?
This
It's a really good question. I mean, Mike, you know, you look at Casey Murphy, he's got to be chopping at the bit to get out here on the mound, given the fact that he did not pitch well in his last outing.
Well, the issue becomes, does it affect some guys more than others, and how would we know? I mean, you'd have to be inside somebody's head. The standard answer, I guess, would be both teams are going through it, so it would affect them equally, but that's not true. And we might not know until the game is over. You might have a guy say, hey, you know, one coach may say, I think it affected my team if they lost. You know, we just don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard to know. You know, both teams with a lot of momentum right now. Arkansas having beat Texas, and then Florida, of course, losing to Texas Tech. Much more throughout the day here from the Pig Trail Nation. Aaron, back to you.
That's why I like Mike Irwin. He says it exactly the way it is. Mike, Drew, thank you so much. Stay as dry as you can. Meteorologist Kelly Dobeck now joining us, and we've talked about this Omaha weather. We knew that rain was coming.
Yeah.
Hey, we're an hour late for this game. How much more are we going to have to wait?
Well, like Mike Irwin said, it looks like the lighter part of the rain, heavier parts off to our northeast, just light rain lingering around Omaha right now. But it is a steady light rain. It is taking its time moving northeast out of the area. So it's going to be at least an hour. At the earliest, I would say around between 1:30 2 p.m. would probably be the best time they could start if they don't want any rain in the area. Zooming out, you can see after this little patch right here, not much to work with behind it. This is all part of a pretty big frontal system that is slowly moving off to the northwest. This is a big area of low pressure. You can see the way the rain showers are oriented. But the good news is no rain behind that. So once they start, shouldn't have any more problems with rain delays over in Omaha. Once they start, that's kind of the key there. But just light rain lingering, heavier storms and showers well off to the northeast of Omaha now, so they won't have to worry about any thunder or lightning over the next couple of hours here. We do have one model that is going to show us by the time 2 o'clock rolls around, you can see that heavier band of showers and storms well off to the northeast. Maybe a couple of light rain, maybe some sprinkles falling over near Omaha, but for the most part, they're going to be staying fairly dry after this big band moves through. Now here in Arkansas, that same system actually affecting parts of northwest Arkansas, and then we have a system to our south kind of sandwiching the state in with rain showers to our north and our south. So we are going to see rain and storms here in the natural state over the next couple of days, and coming up here, I'll take you hour by hour to let you know how much rain we're going to expect across the state. Aaron?
All right. Kelly, thank you so much. The newest members of the state Senate have taken the oath of office. They are Breanne Davis and Ricky Hill. Davis will represent Senate District 16. That's the Russellville area. She's filling Greg Standridge's seat following his death last fall. Hill is the new state senator for the Cabot area, taking over for Eddie Joe Williams, who took a job with the Trump administration. And it was right to work for both of these. After the swearing-in ceremony, Hill and Davis made their first votes. This beef up ethics rules. The overhaul will increase contribution reporting and establish a Senate Ethics Committee. Now, in light of multiple recent corruption scandals, the new Senate president saying all elected officials need to be watched.
Unfortunately, corruption is bipartisan, and the fix needs to be bipartisan. This does not need to be something that we play political games with.
State Senator Alan Clark was the only no vote. Clark expressed concern the rules passed don't go far enough. There was a runoff election Tuesday here in the state of Arkansas. Two men looking ahead for the race for the seats in the state legislature in Senate District 8. That's Fort Smith. State Representative Matt Pitched advances to a special election. It's going to be held in August, beating Frank Glidwell by only 84 votes. This was former State Senator Jake Files' seat. He was sentenced Monday to 18 months in prison for fraud and money laundering. Another narrow race in House District 83. That's in North Arkansas. Sheriff Keith Slape defeated Donald Ragland by less than 1% of the vote. Slape running unopposed in November. Arkansas has one of the highest smoking rates, and it may be going up. But now a push to increase Arkansas's tobacco tax will be discussed. It's going to happen today. A task force will hear from the American Cancer Society, who wants to up the tax by $1.50. Right now the rate is $1.15.